Living life with fibromyalgia? What?
Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Dupree, scouring the globe to bring you stories of courage, passion, and resilience. If I could sum up this podcast into one word, I would use empathy. Now let's get inspired.
Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I'm your host once again, Brett Dupree, here to drop some spiritual, wonderful, inspirational knowledge on you. Hope you didn't hear anything because I just hit my microphone because I'm just super excited because today we're talking to Amanda Love about fibromyalgia. I love learning about things from people that I don't understand. But first, I'm going to be vulnerable about what's going on in my life, because if I cannot be vulnerable, how can I expect my guests to be? You know, I was thinking about it as I was listening to Amanda. So I kind of have two main podcasts. I have the podcast where I'm asking somebody about something I don't know, and the other podcast where I really try to delve into their story. This one comes into more of I don't know because I don't know much about fibromyalgia. And it's okay not to know much. I don't know why I felt like sharing that, but that was just a thought that go into my head. I'm recording this on May 18th, 2020, because I always want to preface this on what's going on in the world. I just did a blog for my Church of Awesome podcast, which I try to go out every Sunday when I'm successful. And this one I talked about something that I've been thinking about for 2 years. I wanted to make a YouTube video on it, but I didn't due to a couple things really. Number one, I still feel kind of subconscious for how much I weigh right now, and unconscious. I still feel, forgot the word for when you feel, let's say ashamed. I still feel ashamed by how much I weigh and looking at myself. I want to weigh less in my videos, and another reason is I no longer believe in the law of attraction, and this is a law of attraction based subject. But the more I learned about how internet algorithms work, I recognized that everything I learned in my 300 to 400 to maybe 1,000 hours in learning about the law of attraction, it was all there. It is a physical representation of what they teach in the law of attraction. What you put out, you put back in, because the algorithm doesn't care what keeps you on the site. YouTube doesn't care what keeps you on it. All it cares about is you're watching more videos so they can sell more ads. Facebook doesn't care what keeps you on. All they want you to do is keep on scrolling so they can show you more ads. Same with Twitter. Anyone that shows ads just wants you to stay on there and stay on there longer. So their algorithm serves what will keep you online, will keep you on what's on their platform. So the algorithm learns based off your activity. And it doesn't matter what activity or engagement you do. For instance, if you go on YouTube and you select dislike on a video and you rage comment how much you hate that video, you'll see more videos like that. Because YouTube did not care that you disliked it. All they care about is that you engaged with it. And Facebook's the same way. I've been on law of attraction websites where someone posts something political, and then there's 1,000 posts, maybe not 1,000, but at least 100 posts talking about how this post does not belong on the page. And here's the thing, Facebook shows you maybe 10% of all the content that you have subscribed to. Something like 20% of your friends, and for pages it's even less, and groups it's even less. It's probably around that 5 to 10% at most if you're just scrolling through. You are practically guaranteeing that somebody will probably see that post because you commented on it. So you are putting out in the universe something that you don't want others to see by commenting on it. Not only that, you're increasing your chance of seeing that post or that type of post on that group by commenting on it, even if you do the angry emoji. And that's what the law of attraction is. What you put out, you get back. And it's right there on your Facebook feed. Your Facebook feed is your vibration. So if you want to see how positive you are, how close you are to reaching your goals, your dreams, and what exactly you are putting out there, just look at your Facebook feed. Is it full of things that make you happy? Or is it full of things that make you frustrated? Is it full of things that make you laugh? Or is it full of things that make you angry? Your Facebook feed is a representation of your vibration. So look at your Facebook feed. Look at your suggested videos on YouTube and clean it up. Instead of commenting on a post you don't like, go on, report the post to moderators, hide the post. There's three dots on Facebook. There's also that on YouTube. I don't know if Twitter has that, but you can always unfollow the person that makes you angry. And sooner or later, you will clean up your vibration. So if you pay attention to things on Facebook that you like and ignore the things you don't like, just like the law of attraction, your Facebook feed will support you rather than harm you. And if you want to listen to even more of me talking about it, check out the Church of Awesome podcast, which is part of my podcast network. And it should be just right below this one if you're listening on a feed that has lines. If you're listening to a place that has all my podcast feed, it's just, go Apple iTunes where you see Joyous Expansion and Church of Awesome. It's the one before this one. It goes all about how to do that and how clean your Facebook feed, clean your vibration. So today I had an interview with Amanda Love, who talks about fibromyalgia, a word that is not super easy for me to say. Hear me mess up on it a few times. Amanda Elise Love is a registered holistic nutritionist who works with those with fibromyalgia. She wants you to know that the word holistic means talking about nutrition and supplements. To think of the word holistic is to realize that it means the integration of mind, body, spirit while addressing health issues. She has a long history of illness which accumulated with the diagnosis of fibromyalgia at the age of 20. She knows this syndrome because she has been there. She no longer suffers from pain, fatigue, and headaches of this syndrome. Now, she helps those with fibromyalgia do the same. Now, here's my interview with Amanda Love. Hello, Amanda, and welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So it says here you're a registered holistic nutritionist and eating psychology coach. Can you give us a little intro to what that is?
What I do is I look over what you are dealing with health-wise, and then I give you the recommendations that you need to feel better, either through diet, supplements, or we focus if you're dealing with stress, those changes that you need to make, but you need someone to support you, and maybe you want that person like me to do the research so then you don't have to do the research.
Ooh, fibromyalgia is a very complex, from what I understand, not extremely well-known type of illness. Is this one that you suffer from?
Yes, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia at the age of 20, so it'll be 10 years this fall. That's why I wanted to help those with fibromyalgia, because that's where my passion is, and I just want to serve as many people as possible, because people don't know what to do when they're diagnosed with fibromyalgia. They usually are put on medications, or they're told to do physical therapy or go to a support group, which doesn't help them.
So what was it like growing up with these illnesses, and what was the process in discovering that you had fibromyalgia?
I was born, actually, the process was I was born 6 weeks early, so I was an early baby, and I kept getting sick constantly. I had a lot of immune issues, and usually people with fibromyalgia, they have immune issues. I kept getting sick every 4 to 6 weeks. I had a high fever, and then out of high school, I did a personal training program, completed that, and right after that, I turned 20. I just felt like I was in constant pain. It's usually with fibromyalgia, you're in pain all down your body. You're so fatigued. You have sleep issues. So I was so exhausted. I couldn't do anything for 2 years. And I couldn't get off the couch because I was just so tired. And we didn't know what was going on. And during that year of 2010, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And usually people with fibromyalgia, they don't get diagnosed till they're in their late 50s or to early 60s.
Is that because it doesn't show up later in usual, or that's because it's so hard to diagnose?
I think it's hard to diagnose, and they're trying to rule out things that you might have, and they really don't know what causes it. I think you have, most of the time, people have food sensitivities, which causes a lot of health issues. Stress plays a big part in it. Different things that affect fibromyalgia. And usually people with fibromyalgia, they have other health conditions too. That complicates matters.
What did it feel like being diagnosed with fibromyalgia?
At that age, I was relieved to be able to say, oh, I have a diagnosis and it's not just in my head. Because a lot of people with fibromyalgia, people say, well, you just need to push through it and you just need to keep going. And a lot of times family members and friends aren't supportive with people with fibromyalgia. At that point, I was glad I had a diagnosis. And a lot of times I think people think, oh, that person's depressed. Most likely they probably are a little depressed because they keep trying things and they just want to feel good and have a normal life, and they just can't do that.
It leads me into a question of what is the best way to support someone who does have fibromyalgia in your life?
The best way is maybe you just let them talk. If they need someone to talk to, just let them talk. Don't give any advice or don't say anything. Or maybe they just need someone just to cook them a meal because they just can't do it. Or maybe they need someone to clean or vacuum because people with fibromyalgia, they just don't have the energy to do the normal daily activities that we all do every day. If you could support them that way. And then, of course, you could always send them my podcast where I talk about fibromyalgia and solutions to get better.
Awesome. So you were diagnosed with fibromyalgia and then you become a coach on helping other people. Can you talk about the process in going through what I would suspect by what you do, the Western way until the more holistic way that you...
I'm not going to diagnose you or cure or treat you. That's not my job. My job is to, maybe you've gotten diagnosed and you're sick of the medications, and I could give you the food choices, the supplements, and we actually look at your health concerns and see where we need to work on too. And I always start very slowly with people with suggestions. I don't overwhelm people because people with fibromyalgia will get lost or they won't do it. I always start very slowly. So depending on how motivated the person is how many recommendations I give and stuff.
So how did you discover the supplements yourself? How did you go about it?
Through my schooling, through books of other fibromyalgia experts and stuff. I continue to do education. I'm not doing anything right now, but I still do education. So I'm always learning about nutrition because nutrition's always changing.
Why did you decide to help other people? There's plenty of jobs out there. Why did you decide to become a holistic nutritionist and eating psychology coach?
I've always been really into nutrition and fitness. I started with personal training, and that was out of high school. After that, I couldn't do anything, so I took online courses. My love of nutrition, and I thought to myself, well, people out there really need help with fibromyalgia, and I could relate to them, and I could show them the easier way, and I could support them. And I'm a big person of that. I feel like God put this on my heart to do whatever God has put in my life with dealing with all these little health issues and struggles. It's my job to share what I can with other people. That's why I decided this would be the perfect fit for me.
So in doing your research, your personal story, how did you notice the nutrition was helping your life, changing it and eating healthier and stuff?
Actually, I found a chiropractor. Actually, my grandmother actually saw a little clipping in the newspaper, a little article saying that he was giving a free talk, and he only was 20 minutes away. So she went to the talk. And he said, well, if she's been diagnosed with fibromyalgia at the age of 20, then she's probably had it most likely her whole life. I did a lot of testing, like stool testing, blood testing, saliva testing, food allergy testing. And I found out in July of 2011 that I had all these different food sensitivities to gluten, soy, eggs, dairy. So I've been off of those for almost 9 years. That's a big part of what I do, is help people see if those food sensitivities are affecting them, and I support them with that, along with the supplements and the seeing where we could make those changes if they're dealing with any stress issues also.
Stress has a big part in affecting fibromyalgia?
Yeah, I believe stress has a big effect in any health condition, pretty much, I feel like. Right now with my podcast, I'm creating an episode coming out in the next week or so that is just talking about stress, because I think that's a big issue with any health condition that you're dealing with.
Keep on mentioning your podcast. What exactly is your podcast?
My podcast, I created it, it'll be a year in May. And I created it because I saw that there wasn't any podcasts for fibromyalgia out there at the time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to create a podcast and I could share some information for people, and I give a few suggestions at the end, and then it's up to them if they want to take action on those suggestions. And I pretty much keep each episode under 10 minutes because I know people are busy. People have excuses. People are just whatever. They're super busy in life. So I just kept them very short, very practical action taking. And then I usually mention if they want to jump on a call with me, they could do that.
Congratulations on doing it for a year. As someone who has done a podcast, I think a year and a half now, I truly commend you for lasting that long.
Yeah.
How have you enjoyed doing your podcast?
Oh, I love it. It's like my favorite thing right now that I'm doing, besides working, of course, with clients. I love that I could get this advice and reach hundreds and hundreds of people. It's fun for me. And for me personally, I love teaching. Anytime that I could teach somebody something new, then that's very important to me because I'm all about serving people.
That's so cool. Serving people is one of the great things in life.
Yeah.
So what are some common misconceptions about fibromyalgia?
I think a lot of times people think I have fibromyalgia, and they act, if you go into a lot of these Facebook groups and stuff, which I don't recommend doing, is that you can't get better. And I feel like sometimes you need to realize it takes time to get better. And I think sometimes in our society, we are all thinking, oh, this supplement or this whatever is going to solve all my health issues and stuff. And it's not a quick fix. It takes time, and it's a multifaceted plan that you have to have. And you have to have the diet, you have to have the supplements, but you also have to have individualized a plan and stuff. So that's what I do, is I look at your health history and I say, okay, where should we focus? Okay, this person is dealing with a lot of digestive issues. Maybe we should focus more on that, or maybe we should focus on the immune issues. It takes time, but you can get better. Any health condition, most health conditions, I feel like you could get better.
What exactly does it look like working with you?
What I do is I offer, for anyone that wants to work with me, I first offer a 45-minute free phone call because I want to see if you're the right fit. For me personally, I don't want to work with someone if they're not at least a little bit motivated to get well. And if you have some health condition that I have no idea what to do, then I would recommend you to someone else, or tell you if someone comes up that I know knows about that health condition, then I'll send you to them. But I learn about you. You can ask me any questions about any of my services, and then we decide at that point, okay, how does this sound? I tell you the cost. And then at that point, you decide if you want to work with me or if not. And then we go into the next phone call.
Cool. Do you have any fun success stories you'd like to share with us?
Sure. I have a 30-day program, and someone told me, she said to me, okay, she's like, oh, I took that supplement. I was having the hardest time. She was in her early 60s, and this supplement was actually helping her. She's like, I'm not using my cane anymore. I could actually walk, and now she's walking like 20 to 30 minutes a day, and she's not having the pain. So I thought that was a really cool story.
That's awesome. Must feel really good to help someone take a lot of the pain away.
Yeah.
What do you like most about being a coach?
What I like most is I just like serving people and actually getting on the phone call with the person and going through, I didn't mention this, once you do your 45-minute call with me, then we do a health history. And this is a 90-minute health history, so it's very in-depth. I love doing them because I find out more about you and like pretty much everything. And then after that, within a couple of days, I'll send you some recommendations and diet tip. Well, actually, not diet, food choices, because I'm not about diets. I just love getting on the phone and actually being able to relate to people and see where they are and get them started on a healthy journey.
So cool. So we are coming to the end of our time together, and one thing I like to ask my guests is to do a 1 minute of motivation. You can imagine this as if you have a time machine and you're going back in time to your 8-year-old self, and you need to convey what your 8-year-old self needs to live a happy and joy-filled life. But fortunately, you only have a minute until you're taken back into the future. Or you can think of it as condensing your entire life purpose into a minute. So are you ready?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
I would say you don't know where you're going to be in your future, but just keep going. It's totally worth it. You're going to have some ups and downs, but as long as you're serving other people and enjoying your life and what you do, it's all going to be important and you're going to love it. And it's just going to be a crazy journey.
Thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I very much enjoyed listening to your story on how you discovered your fibromyalgia, and then you worked on ways to improve your life, and thus deciding to not only improve yours, but to take it to the next level and improve other people's and helping them take that pain away, and while also increasing awareness of fibromyalgia. So thank you so much for coming on my podcast, and thank you for making this world a better place.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
May your day be special. And there you have it, folks. That is my interview with the Amanda Love. I truly appreciate her coming on to my channel and talk about fibromyalgia. It's not something that I research a lot about myself because I don't have it and I don't really have anyone close to me having it. So I appreciate there's somebody out there who is helping those people. I've been Facebook friends and watching them talk about getting the flare-ups and just having those sicknesses that aren't apparent. You know, the ones that if you look at someone, they're mostly look fine, but then you don't know what's going on. So I appreciate listening to somebody who is helping people with that, and especially kind of supplementing what we're learning today about it and helping people that way, a both Western and holistic approach. And to do it slowly. I really enjoyed the fact that Amanda didn't make any wild promises of what she can do. I mean, she can help people find the right supplements to support them, but it's not an instant quick fix. And I think too many people are out there trying to sell instant quick fixes, and those are not as effective a lot of the times. So if you want to talk to Amanda Love, you can check her out at Amanda Elise Love, AmandaElise.com. There you can find her blog. The Fibro Fix is what it's called. She has a free ebook, The Sleep Fix. There you can find her podcast as well, and her blog. Or you can look at it, Fibromyalgia Real Solutions with Amanda Love. So thank you for listening to my podcast. I appreciate everybody who spends time and listens to me and listens to my guests and learns and makes their lives better, because that's what life is, a continuing learning experience. So I appreciate you taking the time to enrich your life, because you are awesome. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at BRE2TsDUPR2Es@joyousexpansion.com. You can check me out on Facebook at Increase Your Joy. Because my bad SEO, I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram as Joyous Expansion. You can also check out more episodes at pod.joyousexpansion.com. Leave a review. That'd be super awesome. I would appreciate you, and share it with your friends. You're amazingly awesome. I am Brett Dupree, your catalyst of transformation, champion of authentic joy, and Joyous Expansion life coach. Wishing you once again to be loved, to be joy, to be awesome. Now play my jingle.
JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Come and say hello to Brett Dupree. He is an inspirational life coach. Good for you and good for me. He turned my life from grey to blue. I'm sure he'll do the same for you. Get in touch and you'll see your life will change dramatically. JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Yeah.